want you to question something. You've never questioned before, what if I told you that most people don't change your decisions with logic, but with psychological pressure you can't even see? Not through force, not through arguments, but through subtle emotional steering that feels like your own choice. And the most disturbing part is that you've already been influenced like this more times than you can remember. In this video, I'm going to take you inside the hidden patterns of human influence, what many call manipulation techniques, but I'm not here to teach you how to control others. I'm here to show you how to see it before it affects you. Because once you understand how human psychology is shaped behind the scenes, you will never experience people the same way again. There is a reason some people always seem to get what they want in conversations, while others feel drained, confused, or guilty without knowing why. It's not magic, it's not dominance, and it's not intelligence, it's psychology. Human behavior runs on patterns, emotional triggers, unconscious reactions, and deeply wired instincts we rarely notice in real time. In this video, I'm going to break those patterns down slowly, piece by piece, so you understand why people say yes when they want to say no, why guilt appears out of nowhere in conversations, why certain personalities feel strangely controlling, and why your emotions sometimes react faster than your logic. But before we go deeper, understand this clearly. The goal here is not fear, the goal is awareness, because what you can see can no longer control you. Human beings are not as rational as we like to believe. Because most decisions are emotional first and logical second, that means before your mind ever explains a choice, your emotions have already accepted it. This is where psychological influence begins. Influence works through three invisible layers: attention, emotion, and interpretation. If someone controls what you focus on, they can influence how you feel. And if they influence how you feel, they can shape how you interpret reality. And if they shape your interpretation, they can indirectly shape your decisions. This doesn't require force. It only requires understanding human emotional wiring. For example, people naturally avoid discomfort, seek approval, fear rejection, and respond to social validation. These are not weaknesses, they are survival instincts. But in modern life, these instincts are often triggered in conversations, relationships, workplaces, and social situations where survival is not actually at risk. And that's where influence becomes powerful. Because when emotion activates, logic becomes quieter. Let me show you how this appears in real life. In a workplace, a colleague might say, "I guess I'll handle this myself if no one else has time." On the surface, it sounds harmless, but psychologically it creates silent pressure. It activates guilt, responsibility, and makes others feel socially obligated to step in. In relationships, one person may not argue directly, but instead withdraw emotionally when something goes wrong. No shouting, no confrontation, just silence, and suddenly the other person feels anxious, confused, and responsible for fixing everything. In friendships, someone might say, "I thought you cared more than that fun," which is not a request, but a psychological trigger that activates self-doubt and makes the other person question their identity and the relationship. Most of these behaviors are not even conscious. People repeat what they've learned socially without realizing the emotional impact behind it. Now, let's go deeper into why this works. First is emotional triggers, because human memory is strongly tied to emotion, and when guilt, fear, or approval seeking is activated, the brain prioritizes emotional resolution over logical analysis. Second is subconscious conditioning, because from childhood people learn patterns like be polite, don't disappoint others, avoid conflict, and seek acceptance. And over time these become internal programs that run automatically. Third is fear of rejection, one of the strongest human instincts, because being excluded is interpreted by the brain as risk, so people comply just to maintain connection even when they don't want to. Fourth is desire for control, because when people feel uncertain, they try to regain emotional control through persuasion, withdrawal, or guilt-based communication, often without realizing it. Fifth is social conditioning, because society teaches indirect communication, where people hint instead of expressing directly, and this creates emotional interpretation. Gaps where psychological influence becomes stronger. So how do you protect yourself from this? Not by becoming cold or mistrusting everyone, but by becoming aware of emotional activation in real time. When you suddenly feel guilty without a clear reason, when you feel pressured to agree quickly, when you feel emotional discomfort without logic, or when your yes comes faster than your thinking process, pause internally, because awareness breaks automatic response. Ask yourself, am I responding to facts or emotions being triggered in me? This single question creates distance between influence and reaction. And the more powerful skill is clarity and communication, because unclear communication creates emotional interpretation gaps, and those gaps are exactly where psychological pressure grows. When things are clear, there is less room for manipulation through confusion. There is a quiet truth about human psychology that most people never face. We are all influenced, but very few of us are aware of it. And awareness is the difference between reaction and understanding. Once you start noticing emotional triggers, subtle pressure, and hidden communication patterns, you realize something important. People are not always trying to control you. Many are just trying to manage their own emotions. And once you see that, you stop reacting blindly and start observing clearly. Because when you understand human psychology at this level, you don't just see others differently.